If you're reading this, you already know what they say about Nevada. Restricted airspace, training range, optical illusions, tourists with cameras. Listen to me. I was Air Force Security Forces, assigned to the test corridor north of Nellis. I signed papers that threatened prison if I spoke. I watched good men die without a single enemy on the roster. And I'm going to tell you what I can, the way I wrote it down while my hands still obey me. Because the thing in the sky wasn't the scariest part. It was what answered from the ground. Classified field notes. Recovered. Author. SRAM. Harlan. 99th SFS. Attached. Status. MIA/presumed deceased. Recovered from burned ruck. Partial. Edges fused. I'm recording this as a confession and as a warning. If it ends mid-sentence, it means they found me or it found me. The air tastes like copper tonight. Dry desert wind. Sagebrush crushed under boots. The kind of cold that makes your teeth feel loose in your gums. We were told it was a routine perimeter augmentation. Extra bodies along a temporary exclusion fence because contractors were moving sensitive equipment. That phrase, sensitive equipment, gets used to hide anything that can't survive daylight. We staged at 2200. No insignia on the contractors. No names. Just black softshell jackets and nods that look newer than ours. Lenses like whetstones. Our team. TSGT Darius Cole. Team lead, hard voice, steady hands. SRA Lena Voss. Combat lifesaver. Eyes always scanning. A 1C Mateo Redding, radio tech. Still had that fresh training stiffness. And me. We rode in two mads with lights blacked out, following a narrow service road that shouldn't exist on any map tourists can buy. The first wrong thing was the noise. Not coyotes. Not rotors. A low, pulsing hum you couldn't locate. It didn't come from ahead or behind. It came from inside the air, like the desert itself had become an engine block. Cole leaned out the turret hatch, looking up, listening. "Anybody else hear that?" he asked over intercom. Voss didn't answer. She was staring at her gloved fingers like she expected them to start moving on their own. Redding adjusted his headset. "Base! This is Raptor 2. Radio check." Static ate him. A hard, dry tearing sound. Cole tried. Same. The hum thickened. It wasn't louder. It was closer, like distant stop matching. We arrive at the temporary fence line. Post-driven fresh, black mesh, warning placards with red lettering that didn't name an agency. The signs were blank where the authority seal should be. Beyond the fence was a wide basin, flat as poured concrete, surrounded by low hills. In the center, a structure I'd never seen on any briefing slide. It looked like a hangar had been buried, and then pushed up from below. Smooth, dark skin. No seams. No doors. Just a shallow ramp leading down into the earth, like something had crawled inside to hide. Contractors were already there, spaced out in pairs, rifles slung but not pointed. They stood like they were waiting for a ceremony. Cole said, "We're here to keep eyeballs off the work. That's all. Nobody crosses that fence without my say." My breath fogged, then vanished like it was being pulled away from my face. That was the second wrong thing. Air doesn't behave like that. 2,317 hours. A light appeared above the basin. Not a flare. Not a drone. A triangle. Perfect, matte black outline cutting out the stars. 3 dim points at the corners. 1 larger light in the center, like a pupil. It wasn't flying. It was hanging. The hum I'd been hearing found its source, but it didn't feel like sound anymore. It felt like pressure. Like the inside of my skull had been filled with water, and someone was tapping it with a spoon. The contractors all looked up in unison. Cole's voice dropped to a whisper, without him meaning to. "Is that ours?" Nobody answered. Even the desert went quiet. No wind, no insects, no distant engines. Silence pressing like a hand over a mouth. The triangle rotated slowly, not around its center, but as if the sky itself was turning it. Then it slid sideways, no acceleration, no arc. It simply changed position like a chess piece. Redding sucked in a breath. "Sir, that's not—" Cole cut him off. "Eyes on your sectors." But my sector was the sky. The craft's lights didn't shine outward. They seemed to drink light in. The stars around it looked faded, like they were being erased. And then I noticed the motif. The thing that would not leave us alone after. A clicking, not from radios, not from gear. A dry, insect-like click, click, click. Faint at first, buried under the hum. It came in bursts of 3 like a code. Click, click, click. Pause. Click, click, click. It sounded like something learning how to speak by tapping bones together. Voss turned her head toward me. Slow. Her lips moved without sound. Do you hear it? I nodded. Her eyes shone in the gnawed glow, wet frightened. Click, click, click. The triangle's center light brightened. It wasn't a beam. It was a widening iris. The basin below it began to shimmer. Heat distortion, I thought. Mirage. But it was wrong. The shimmer moved against the wind that wasn't there. It crawled across the ground like a living skin. Cole finally keyed his radio again, harder. Nellis. This is Raptor 2. We have an unknown aircraft hovering over. Static. Then something else. A voice that wasn't a voice. A layered sound, like many throats trying to form one word. It came through the speaker and also through my teeth. Raptor. Redding yanked his headset off like it burned. That's not them, he said, breath fast. That's not. Click, click, click. From the basin. From the ground itself. 2,331 hours. A new set of orders came in, not from Nellis. A contractor with no rank patch walked up to Cole, handed him a laminated card with a code phrase. Cole read it, face tightening. What's the mission change? I asked. Cole looked past me, like he didn't want his eyes to land on my face. We're moving inside the fence, he said. We're escorting a recovery detail down the ramp. Voss stepped closer. That's not what we were told. Cole's jaw flexed. I know. Redding's hands shook as he reattached his headset. Sir, comms are still dead. We shouldn't go down there without. The contractor said, You will proceed. His voice was flat, not threatening. Certain. Cole hesitated the way you hesitate at the edge of a high dive, even if you've jumped before. Then he said, Raptor team, weapons tight. Safety's on. Nobody fires unless fired upon. We crossed the fence through a gate. I hadn't seen them open. The mesh didn't rattle. It moved silently, like it was never attached to posts at all. As we walked, the clicking grew louder. Click, click, click. It wasn't random. It matched our footsteps sometimes, like something was timing us. The ramp downward felt too smooth under my boots, like polished stone. The air cooled, not normal desert cooling. This was refrigeration cold, sterile, with a faint smell like ozone and wet pennies. Voss whispered, Do you smell that? I did. It coated the back of my throat. Redding muttered, My ears won't pop. Mine either. Like pressure didn't exist down there. We descended into the mouth. The darkness swallowed our nods. The image washed out, full of white noise, like the darkness was noisy. Cole clicked on a red lens flashlight. The beam hit a wall that wasn't metal. It looked like bone, not bleached, dark, dense, with faint striations. The corridor curved gently like the inside of a rib. Click, click, click. Now it was everywhere, echoing ahead. Then, under it, another sound, breathing, not human. Too slow, too deep, like a lung the size of a vehicle, inflating somewhere in the dark. Cole raised a fist. We halted. The contractor behind us didn't. He continued forward, steps measured, rifle hanging loose. He looked like a man walking into a church. His flashlight beam swung left and right, revealing markings on the bone wall. Not writing. Scars. Long grooves, arranged in repeating patterns. 3 cuts. Pause. 3 cuts. Click, click, click. The same motif, carved into the corridor itself. My stomach tightened, as if gravity had shifted. Voss whispered, This place is alive? Cole didn't answer. His face was pale under the red light. Redding's radio crackled, sudden and sharp. For a second, I thought comms were back. Then the speaker whispered, in a voice that sounded like mine, Don't look up. I froze. Voss jerked her gaze upward immediately, like an order. Her red beam flashed onto the ceiling. Something moved. A shape clung there, inverted, limbs folded tight like a praying mantis. It was pale and wet, skin translucent enough to show dark veins. Its head was long, jaw split in 3 segments that opened like petals. It wasn't alone. There were more, lying along the ceiling ribs, perfectly still, coordinated, waiting. Click, click, click. One of them answered. The nearest creature's jaw opened without sound. Inside was not teeth, but a set of clicking plates, snapping together in bursts of 3. Voss inhaled sharply. The creature dropped. It didn't fall like weight. It placed itself on her. It wrapped around her torso with limbs that bent the wrong way, elbows where there should be knees, and its abdomen pressed to her chest like it was hugging her. Her scream came out strangled. Cole lunged, grabbing the creature's limb. The thing pivoted its head toward him with unsettling intelligence. It wasn't startled. It was assessing. Its jaw petals open, and a thin tube darted out, straight into Voss's throat. Her scream stopped midair. Her eyes went wide, bulging, as something pumped. I smelled hot iron. Blood. Lots of it. Voss's hands clawed at the thing's body, fingers slipping on slick skin. Cole shouted, "Get it off her!" I grabbed my rifle, then hesitated, weapon tight. Safety's on. Orders. Orders that suddenly meant nothing. Click, click, click. Above us, the ceiling shapes shifted. Not a swarm. A coordinated redeployment. They moved like a unit. Redding fired first. His muzzle flash filled the corridor with harsh white light. The shot hit the creature on Voss. The round punched through wet tissue and exploded against the bone wall, spraying dark fluid. The creature did not flinch. It tightened. Voss convulsed. Her heels hammered the floor, then stopped. Cole grabbed Voss under her arms, yanking. The creature uncoiled smoothly, not resisting, like it had already finished. Voss slid from its grip like a cut rope. Her head lolled. Her eyes were open but not seeing. The skin around her throat had collapsed inward like something had removed the structure. The creature stepped back, then clicked. Click, 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 as if signaling. The corridor answered with a chorus. Click, click, click. Dozens. Hundreds. Cole's voice turned raw. Move. Move now. We ran. The ramp backup felt longer than before, like the corridor was stretching as we moved. The red light flickered. My breath came in sharp, cold bursts. Behind us, the creatures didn't chase like animals. They advanced like infantry. Spacing. Angles. One high, one low. Flanking. A training manual written in flesh. Click, click, click. Their clicks changed tempo. Faster, urgent. Redding stumbled. Look back! I can't, my eyes, he gasped. He tore off his nods, rubbing his face. Under the red light. His pupils were huge. He whispered, "There's a second sky down here." I didn't understand until my own vision warped. The corridor walls seemed to peel away, revealing stars where bones should be. A night sky turning inside out. The triangle craft central light appeared, impossibly, beneath our feet, like the universe had folded. My stomach lurched. I tasted bile and copper. Hallucination. Psychological distortion. Or something realer than that. Click, click, click. A creature leapt from the wall, landing on Redding's back. He screamed, this time full, no restraint. The creature's limbs wrapped around his neck and waist. Its jaw petals opened toward the base of his skull. Cole fired point blank. The round tore through the creature's head, spraying a mist that smelled like burned salt. The creature sagged. But Redding didn't get up. His helmet had been pierced, not by a bullet, by that thin tube. It had drilled into the back of his head like a straw. Redding's mouth opened and closed soundlessly, eyes rolling. Then he went limp. Cole grabbed his vest, dragging him. "We don't leave him," Cole said, voice breaking. But Redding's body was wrong now. Too heavy, like it filled with sand. I helped pull. The corridor clicked around us. Click, click, click. I felt something brush my boot, soft, probing. I looked down. A pale limb had extended from a crack in the floor, fingertips like hooks. It touched the tread of my boot, like it was reading it. I kicked hard. The limb withdrew instantly. Not injured. Testing. Learning. 2,340 hours. Surface. We burst out into the basin. The air was warmer and felt thick, like breathing through cloth. The triangle craft was still overhead, but it had shifted. Now it hovered directly above the buried hangar mouth, center light bright as a full moon. The hum became a vibration in my bones. Contractors were gone. The fence gate stood open, swaying slightly without wind. Cole looked around, wild-eyed. Where is everybody? A figure stood near our MATV, one of the contractors, motionless, facing us. Cole shouted, "Get us out. We have casualties. We have unknown hostile." The contractor raised his hand. Not a stop sign, a signal. The triangle's center light pulsed once. The basin shimmered again, that crawling skin across the ground. My vision stuttered. For a heartbeat, I saw the desert in daylight. Blue sky, bright sun. Then night again. Then something else. A vast, dark chamber under the earth, full of clicking shapes arranged in circles around a central pit. In the pit, a light like the craft's eye, staring up. I blinked hard, trying to clear it. Cole was yelling orders. I couldn't understand the words. Sound warped, stretching as if time was bending. Click, click, click. The motif now came from the open ramp. They were coming out, not rushing, emerging. The first one climbed the incline with careful grace, limbs gripping the smooth surface. It paused at the threshold like it was tasting the air. Then it clicked. Click, click, click. 3 more appeared behind it. Then more. A line forming. A unit. Heads turning in synchronized increments, scanning our positions. Cole shouted, "Engage!" We opened fire. Muzzle flashes strobed the desert. The smell of gunpowder filled the air, sharp and comforting in its familiarity. Rounds struck pale bodies, tearing tissue, splashing dark fluid. Some creatures dropped. Others kept moving, stepping over their dead without breaking formation. They learned in real time. After the first burst, they began moving in a pattern. One would draw fire, the next would sprint low, the next would climb along the ramp walls. Coordinated, unnaturally disciplined. I watched one creature pick up a fallen rifle with a limb that shouldn't have had that dexterity. It didn't fire. It brought the muzzle to its jaw pedals, clicked against it, as if memorizing the shape. Then it tossed the rifle aside and charged, faster. Cole was beside me, reloading with hands that had started shaking. "Fall back to the MATV," he shouted. We ran. Redding's body was still on the ramp edge where we dropped him, face down, boots toward us. As we passed, his fingers twitched. I stopped, horrified. "Cole, he's—" Redding's head lifted, not like a man waking, like something inside him lifting the helmet. His mouth opened, and he clicked. Click, click, click. The exact motif. His eyes were wrong, too still, too focused. Voss's dead face flashed in my mind. Her throat collapsed. I backed away, heart hammering. Cole saw it and raised his rifle. "Mateo," he whispered, like saying the name could bring him back. Redding tilted his head with that unnatural precision, then crawled forward on elbows, dragging legs that didn't want to work. Cole fired. The rounds tore into Redding's chest. He jerked, then stopped, but the clicking continued for a few more seconds, faint, from his throat. Click, click, click. Then silence. Cole's eyes were wet. He swallowed hard, forcing himself to move. We reached the MATV. The engine wouldn't turn over. Cole slammed the dash. "Come on, come on." The hum overhead deepened. The triangle craft descended slightly, center light widening like an opening pupil. A wave of pressure hit us. My nose bled instantly, warm down my lip. The blood smelled metallic and sweet. Cole stumbled, grabbing the vehicle. Voss, dead, appeared in my peripheral vision, standing beside the fence, looking at us. Her throat was intact, her face calm. She raised a hand and pointed upward. I whirled. Nothing there but stars and the black triangle. The hallucination snapped away, leaving only emptiness and the sound of my own breathing. Click, click, click. The creatures were close now, spreading out in a crescent around the vehicles. They weren't just trying to kill us. They were trying to contain us, to keep us inside their geometry. Cole grabbed a flare from his kit, struck it. Red fire hissed to life, throwing harsh light across pale bodies. The creatures flinched, not from pain, from recognition. They clicked faster. Click, 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 click. Their pattern broke. They surged. One leapt onto the hood, limbs spidering, jaw petals opening toward Cole's face. Cole shoved the flare up into its mouth. The creature convulsed, dark fluid boiling. It shrieked. Not a scream, but feedback howled like a radio tuned to a dead station. Several. Others paused, heads turning toward the sound, like they were receiving a command update. I fired into their joints, aiming for limbs. One dropped. Another replaced it immediately, stepping into its slot. A shape moved behind Cole, low, fast. I shouted, "Left!" Too late. A creature hit Cole's legs, folding him down. He landed hard, grunt knocked from him. The creature climbed him, limbs pinning his arms. Cole fought, muscle straining. The jaw petals opened. That thin tube snapped out. Cole turned his head at the last instant, tube piercing his cheek instead of his skull. Blood sprayed. Cole screamed, muffled, and grabbed the tube with one hand, trying to pull it out. The creature tightened. Pushing, I slammed my rifle, but into its head. Once. Twice. The creature shifted, tube retracting, then snapped its jaw plates. Click, click, click. It looked at me, not like an animal, like an officer making a decision. It released Cole and lunged at me instead. I fell backward, hitting the sand hard. My breath left me in a cold rush. The creature straddled my chest, weight wrong, too light and too heavy at once. Its limbs pressed into my vest, probing for gaps. Its jaw petals opened inches from my face. I saw inside, not a throat, a ring of clicking plates in the darkness behind them that felt like depth without end. The tube darted toward my eye. I turned, tube skimming my visor, a sharp sting at my temple. Something injected. My vision exploded into stars. The desert disappeared. I was falling upward through a tunnel of bone, surrounded by the clicking motif repeating in my head like a chant. Click, click, click. A vast eye opened beneath the earth. Not the craft's light. Something older. Something that had been waiting for us to build machines that could mimic its shape. I saw the triangle craft not as a vehicle, but as a lure, a mask, a reflective surface for a mind below. I felt it touch my thoughts the way fingers touch wet clay. It did not feel anger. It felt hunger, patient and mathematical. A gunshot cracked. The creature on me jerked. Its head split open. Cold air rushed back in. I blinked hard. Cole was on his knees, pistol in hand, cheek torn and bloody. He grabbed my vest and hauled me up. "Run," he rasped. "To the fence. Now." The MATV engine finally coughed alive behind us. Another contractor, appearing from nowhere, had reached into the driver's window and turned the ignition with calm precision. Cole stared at him. "You could have done that the whole time," Cole choked out. The contractor didn't look at him. He looked at the ramp mouth, where more creatures emerged, and then at the triangle craft overhead. Then he spoke, quiet, like a man stating weather. "They are not supposed to breach the surface yet." Cole's eyes widened. "Yet." The contractor opened the MATV door. "Get in." Cole hesitated. Voss was dead. Redding was dead. The desert was crawling with coordinated nightmares. Cole got in. I followed, boots slipping on sand. The contractor drove, not toward the main road, toward the basin center, directly under the triangle. "Where are you taking us?" Cole demanded, voice cracked. The contractor said, "Out." The triangle's center light pulsed. The hum became unbearable. My teeth vibrated. My bones felt like they were resonating. The creatures stopped chasing. They stood in formation near the ramp, watching us go, heads tracking the MATV with synchronized movements. Click, click, click. They clicked like a farewell, or like a count. The MATV passed under the triangle. The center light opened fully. A darkness spilled down, not like a beam, but like a curtain. We entered it. Everything went silent. No hum. No engine. No breath. For a moment, I thought we were dead. Then the world snapped back in, hard. We were on a different road, paved with reflector markers. The sky looked the same but felt wrong, like the stars were arranged with subtle cruelty. The contractor slowed near a sign I recognized, an access road that should have taken us 2 hours to reach. Cole stared ahead, shaking. "How?" he whispered. The contractor didn't answer. He pulled over, stopped the vehicle, and opened the door. "Your report will be taken," he said. "Your memory will be evaluated." Cole raised his pistol. "You touch my head and I will." The contractor looked at Cole with a calm that felt inhuman. "You already belong to them now," he said. Cole froze. My temple burned where the tube had pricked me. I could hear it, faint, inside my skull. Click, click, click. Cole's face drained. He lowered the pistol slowly, like a man realizing he is holding a toy. The contractor walked away into the dark. No footsteps. Just gone. I don't know how long after that I wandered before I found a place to hide and write this. My radio is dead. My phone shows time and then doesn't. My compass spins. Sometimes I see Voss at the edge of my vision, standing in the desert, pointing up. Sometimes I hear Reddings click in my ear like someone tapping on a wall from the inside. Click, click, click. The motif is getting louder. It is learning my rhythms. It matches my breathing now. It matches my heart sometimes. When I close my eyes, I see the triangle craft above the basin. But I also see beneath it the buried hangar, the bone corridor, the pit with the eyes staring up. I think the craft is real. I think the Air Force built it or found it or copied it. But the thing beneath the desert is older than any uniform. It is using our machines like mirrors, and it is practicing. The creatures were not wild. They were drilled. They moved like squads. They tested. They adapted in minutes. They did not pursue us because they were afraid. They let us go because we were marked, because the tube touched my head and put something inside, because now I can hear them even when the desert is quiet. Click, click, click. If you are the kind of person who watches the sky over Nevada for black triangles, you are looking at the wrong place. Stop looking up. Listen. Put your ear to the ground when the desert goes still. When the wind dies and the stars look faded, you will hear it. A dry, patient clicking in bursts of 3, like a code being sent through stone. Click, click, click. And when you hear it, do not tell yourself it is insects. Insects do not coordinate. Insects do not carve patterns into bone. Insects do not learn your name through a radio and speak it back with your own voice. If you hear 3 clicks in the night, do not answer. Do not step closer. Do not film it. Do not think you are witnessing something secret and exciting. You are being measured. You are being counted. And when the triangle returns, and it will, the light in its center will not be searching for targets. It will be opening a door. The last thing I saw before my batteries died was my own reflection in the MATV mirror. Not my face. Not my eyes. Behind my pupils, in the dark shine, 3 tiny lights arranged in a triangle, blinking slowly, like something inside me was looking back out the desert, waiting for the next signal.